Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. We cover everything Major League, from spring training to the World Series. We've got your favorite club covered, from New York to Boston to LA. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast.
What is up? Welcome to the GSMC Baseball Podcast on a Monday today here. Coming to you as we are going to go over the scores and everything from the weekend. It's busy weekend in baseball in just a moment. As always, this podcast is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. As we're going to go into some talk on, like I said, the games from last weekend, and then also it's All-Star break time. We have some All-Star talk, home run derby talk. It's going to be a good show, honestly. I'm excited for this one, as you notice there's a bunch of acronyms up on the top title line. You're like, what does this mean, Tom? It says Red Sox. I know the Red Sox are hot right now, best team in the league, but what do these acronyms mean? Well, ASG is All-Star Game, and HRD is home run derby. So there you go. All right, quickly, as I want to get to these games from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, as it'll take a little bit, probably the first two segments to get through these games, but I do like to give you guys an in-depth little snapshot of every one of them, also giving everybody their due diligence as they deserve, pitchers and such. All right, starting off in San Francisco, the Bay Bridge series got started on Friday as the Giants and the A's played in AT&T Park. The Giants win 7-1. It was actually a 2-1 game, and the A's had the bases loaded with nobody out, but Reyes Moranta, the reliever for the Giants, came in for Yoenis Bumgarner and was able to wiggle his way out of that jam. And in the next inning, the Giants actually scored 5 runs in the bottom half of that 7th inning to really blow that game open and win it 7-1. The only home run of the game was a Chad Pinder homer for the A's, their only run of the game. It was his 10th of the season. Madison Bumgarner gets the win, his 3rd of the year. He's now 3-3. He went 6 innings, 1 run allowed, 3 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, just that homer, as the Giants win 7-1. In Pittsburgh, the Pirates win 7-3 over the Brewers. As you're going to see a trend here in a minute, but this was an interesting series. They played actually on Thursday as well. With Pirates won. The Pirates win again on Friday, as they got a home run from Gregory Polanco, his 14th of the season. Nick Kingham was pretty good, 6 1/3 innings, 3 runs, 5 hits, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts, give up a couple home runs. One to Woodruff, the pitcher, a relief pitcher for the Brewers, came up and hit a homer, his first of his career, first of the year. Travis Shaw hit his 17th of the season as well in the loss for the Brewers. In Baltimore, the Rangers beat the Orioles 5-4. I know, really interesting, Rangers and Orioles, but I'll just give it to you as the Joey Gallo hit his 22nd homer of the year. Rua hit his 5th of the season, as Cole Hamels gets his 5th win of the season, as the Rangers sneak by the Orioles 5-4. In Cleveland, the Indians beat the Yankees 6-5. This was a good start by Shane Bieber. He went 7 innings, allowed 3 earned runs, 4 total actually, so 1 unearned, 5 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts for him. This is a game that was kind of back and forth. The Yankees scored 3 runs in the top of the 5th inning to make it 4-3, but the Indians came right back, made it 6-3 as they scored 2 in the bottom half. The Yankees did try to add on in the late innings, but the pen was able to hold on there in the Indians. Home runs in this game was only a Giancarlo Stanton homer, his 23rd of the season, and that was a solo shot for him. In Miami, the Phillies shut out the Marlins 2-0 behind a great pitching performance from Jake Arrieta as he gets back into the good graces, it looks like, of the fans and into the groove as he went 7 shutout, 3 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts as well for him. The lone homer in the game was a Maikel Franco solo shot, his 13th of the season. Phillies win 2-0. In Boston, the Blue Jays beat up on the Red Sox 13-7 as Rick Porcello got shelled. He only lasted 2 innings, gave up 8 runs on 7 hits, a couple homers as well. Justin Smoke hit 2 of them, actually. One was off Porcello, a solo shot, his 15th. The second one was his 16th, a 2-run shot in the 9th inning. For the Blue Jays, their left fielder Dwight Smith also hit a homer, his second of the season. That was also off Porcello. And this one, no homers for the Red Sox. I mean, usually when they score 7 runs, the Red Sox, you score 7 runs, you think you get a win, but their starter was not quite on his game that day. They lose 13-7. In New York, the Nationals drop one to the Mets. The Mets win 4-2 over the struggling Nationals as they have continued to kind of dwindle down the NL East. As we'll do a little update on the standings eventually here on the show, but I just want to give you this. Noah Syndergaard gets his 5th win of the season as the Mets scored 3 in the first and 1 in the second to really set the tone in this game. The only runs of the game were those 4 runs up there in the beginning. In this one, only homer in the game was a Matt Adams solo shot off of Jacob Gesellman in the 8th inning, his 14th of the season for him. As Syndergaard was good, 5 innings, 1 run allowed, 7 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, as he threw 75 pitches, and that's pretty much all they're going to let him do right now as he's still kind of working his way back from that injury. In Atlanta, the Diamondbacks beat the Braves 2-1. Zach Godley was great. He went 6 innings, 1 run allowed, 5 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts for him. No homers in this game as a low-scoring affair as the Diamondbacks were able to get a Nick Ahmed single in the top of the 7th to win this one, 2-1. In Houston, the Astros beat the Tigers 3-0 behind an excellent pitching performance from Dallas Keuchel. Dallas went 6 innings, no runs allowed, 6 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts for him. The lone homer in this game was a Alex Bregman 2-run shot, his 20th of the season. He'll be in the home run derby, as we'll talk about that in the third segment, especially Alex Bregman. Good for him getting to 20 home runs on the season before the All Star break. In south side of Chicago, the White Sox beat the Royals 9-6 as they got a home run from Jose Abreu, his 13th, Garcia his 4th, and Navarez his 3rd of the season as they went deep a few times in this one as they get a win behind James Shields, his 4th win of the season. The Shields actually was pretty good, 6 2/3 innings, 2 runs allowed, 4 hits, 5 walks, 7 strikeouts for him. In Minnesota, the Twins beat up on the Rays 11-8. Well, I mean, the Rays scored some runs too, but the Twins scored more. Homers in this game. Mauer hit his 3rd of the season for the Twins, as he's not really hitting that many home runs, Joe Mauer, but he's still hitting 278. I got to get that up a little bit more. But this guy who's hitting leadoff for the Twins these days, playing first base, Joe Mauer. But for the Rays, Bowers hit his 4th, Wendell his 4th as well. As not very much pitching in this one going on, but the Twins do hit enough to get the win. In St. Louis, the Cardinals get whacked by the Reds 9-1. This is leading up to the Mike Matheny. Well, Mike Matheny was fired, actually. I think it was on Saturday. He was fired. Saturday or Sunday, he was fired by the Cardinals, along with their hitting coach and assistant hitting coach over there in St. Louis. So, I mean, this is after I think they scored 3 runs over the weekend to the Reds. So you'll kind of see the trend here. But they lose 9-1 in this one on Friday. As Matt Harvey gets the win, his 5th of the season, 5 innings pitched, 1 run allowed, 4 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts for him. Scooter Gennett hit his 16th of the season. Herrera his 1st for the Reds, as they were pretty much ran away with this one in St. Louis. In Colorado, the Rockies beat the Mariners 10-7 there at Mile High. As again, not much pitching in this one, but home runs came from Charlie Blackmon, his 19th. Trevor Story also his 19th of the season for the Rockies. No homers for the Mariners, but they did score a bunch of runs. Had 12 hits in this one, but outpaced by the Rockies who had 14 hits. So there you go. In San Diego, the Cubs beat the Padres in 10 innings 5-4. The only home run in this game was a Travis Jankowski 2-run shot in the 2nd inning, his 2nd of the season, as he pretty much out of the offense. He's main part of the offense for the Padres, but this one was decided late as the Cubs were able to get a run on Javy Baez. Actually stole second, and he scored all the way from second to win, to get that lead in that game. It was a pretty crazy play there by Javy Baez. I think it was, what did it say? He was stealing. So it says steals second base. He came around after the ball went into center field, and then he came all the way around and scored from second base. So, I mean, good for him there, using the speed to get in there. I mean, I guess they're playing a really deep set in center field. It took a while for that center fielder to come up and get the ball and throw it back to the first base. But Cubs get the win 5-4. In Los Angeles, the Freeway Series went on this weekend, as it was at Dodger Stadium this time. Dodgers win 3-2 over the Angels after Max Muncy drove in a run to take the lead there in the bottom of the seventh inning. He's been the guy for them. And the Dodgers always just seem to find one guy hit a bunch of homers, and it's Max Muncy this year. I mean, that wasn't a homer there, but he's already got like 22. He's going to be in the home run derby. We'll talk about him in a few minutes here. But I mean, the Dodgers win 3-2 at home. Only a home run in this game, or a couple home runs in this game, for Cole Calhoun, his 7th and his 8th. Max Muncy also hit his 22nd of the year in the first inning for the Dodgers. All right, that'll do it for Friday. Over to Saturday here, as we'll do a few games to finish off this segment. Saturday, the A's beat the Giants 4-3 as they got a 2 runs in the top of the 7th inning to take the lead, and then they would hold on there. Mark Canha hit his 12th of the season to win that one for the A's, as they got that run in the late innings there. The winner was Yusmeiro Petit in relief. In Pittsburgh, the Pirates beat the Brewers again, as we are going to get used to, as this actually was a doubleheader. As 2-1 was the win for the Pirates. They scored their 2 runs in the very first inning and were able to hold on for the victory. Homers for the Pirates both scored both their runs. Starling Marte, his 12th. Gregory Polanco, his 15th for the Pirates, as they get the win there, backing up Chase Anderson. Backing up Von Nova, who didn't actually register for a win because he only went 4 2/3 innings, and the bullpen was able to hold on for them. And then the second game of that doubleheader, the Pirates won again. They got a home run from Max Moroff, his 3rd of the season, and Luplow hit 2. This is their young left fielder for the Pirates. He hit 2. His obviously his first and second. This is Jordan Luplow. As he came up and is now, he does have a few home runs in the majors. Wasn't his first major league homer, but his first 2 homers of the season. Starling Marte also added his 13th and Polanco his 16th for the Pirates, as they used the long ball to beat the Brewers in this one, as they actually got a nice start from their young starter Clay Holmes, right-hander. Went 6 shutout innings, 4 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts for him, as he gets the win for the Pirates. All right, in Boston, the Red Sox get a win over the Blue Jays, as they got a big home run in the bottom of the 10th inning to win this one. It was a Xander Bogaerts grand slam to win it, as they win 6-3. The only time you really see a 6-3 score in an extra inning game for a walk-off, if somebody walks off with a grand slam, of course. That was his 15th homer of the season for Bogaerts. The only other homer came from JD Martinez, his 29th of the year for him, as he is looking at 30 home runs before the All Star Game. All right, in Chicago, the White Sox dropped this one as they get shut out by the Royals 5-0. Home runs in this game: Jorge Bonifacio hit his 1st of the season. Salvador Perez his 13th of the year. For the Royals, they had an excellent start from Danny Duffy. He went 7 shutout innings, 4 hits, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts for him, as he gets his 5th win of the season. And then in Minnesota, the Rays come back after getting beat down the first game on Friday. They whack the Twins 19-6, as they got a home run from C.J. Cron, his 19th of the season. Carlos Gomez, his 8th of the year, and Bowers, his 5th of the season for the Rays, as they scored a bunch of runs in this one. They had 20 hits, 19 runs on 20 hits in this game. The Twins didn't even have any errors either, so I mean, this was all earned, as the starter for the Rays, though, was Chris Archer. He only lasted 4 1/3 innings after pitching He threw 93 pitches over 4 1/3, so he was done. Got no decision due to the fact that he didn't play long enough. But the Rays, they scored 5 runs in the 7th, 5 runs in the 8th, and 5 runs in the 9th. Wow, that's consistency right there. As they were trailing, actually, in this one for much of the game, the Twins had a 6-4 lead going into the top of the 7th inning, and then it was all over there. In Atlanta, the Arizona Diamondbacks shut out the Braves, as Zach Greinke was great, as he went and got his 10th win of the season there in Atlanta. He went 7 2/3 innings, shutout ball, 4 hits, no walks, 7 strikeouts for Greinke. He is excellent in this one. Home runs in this game came from Ketel Marte, his 9th of the season, as the Diamondbacks get a shutout victory in Atlanta. In St. Louis, the Reds from Cincinnati. We'll actually hold on. We're going to come back and do the Reds and Cardinals game after the break. I want to cut it right here. I want to keep my segments uniform, so we'll come back and do that after the break. So everybody, stay tuned.
This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
All right, welcome back to GSMC Baseball Podcast on a Monday, as we're going to come back and do the Cardinals and Reds game right now. 8-2 was the final, as the Reds beat the Cardinals on Saturday again. As this is all leading up to that firing of the manager, but Jack Flaherty was pretty good. 5 shutout innings, 2 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. But this is all decided late in the game, as the Reds were able to score a run in the 6th, 4 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, and 1 in the 9th to get to their 8 runs. The only home run in this game was actually a Matt Carpenter homer, his 18th of the season, and that was a solo shot for him in the first inning. But that's you got to hold on there, as the you got to keep pitching late in that game. Could not do it. Reds did not hit a homer, but they were able to string a bunch of hits together and get the runs they needed to win that game. All right. In Houston, the Astros beat the Tigers 9-1, as they had a nice pitching performance from Garrett Cole, 5 2/3 innings, 1 run allowed, 3 hits, 4 walks, 8 strikeouts for him. Home runs came from Josh Reddick, his 9th, Evan Gattis, his 19th. And the young first baseman for the Astros, that's who actually came in, Tyler White. That's right. He came in and he had his 2nd homer of the season. That was a 2-run shot for him in the 7th inning. So the Astros get a good win there at home. In Miami, the Marlins shut out the Phillies 2-0. Got a great start from Trevor Richards. He went 6 innings, 2 no runs allowed, 4 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts for him, as he was excellent in this one. He beat Aaron Nola, which is not a very easy thing to do. Only his 3rd loss of the season. So Aaron Nola was also pretty good. 6 innings, 2 runs allowed, 4 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, but not good enough, as he didn't get any run support. Was out-dueled. No homers in this game. Low-scoring affair in Miami. In New York, the Mets beat the Nationals again, as Zach Wheeler got the start. He actually went 7 2/3 innings, 4 runs, 8 hits, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, a homer allowed, but he got the win. The only homer he allowed was to Matt Adams, his 15th of the season, a 2-run shot. Didn't really seem to matter all that much, as he was cruising through that game as well. He's only had allowed 2 runs since. For the Mets, Michael Conforto hit his 11th of the season, a 3-run homer in the 5th inning for New York, as they got the win there at home. In extra innings, the Angels beat the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium 5-4. Home runs in this game came from Justin Upton, his 19th, and Cole Calhoun, his 9th. That was the big blow in the top of the 10th inning to get them in the lead. Chris Taylor hit his 11th of the year for the Dodgers, as they dropped this one at home. In Cleveland, the Yankees beat the Indians 5-4. CC Sabathia got the decision, but he went 5 2/3 innings, 4 runs allowed, 4 hits, 2 walks, 3 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, a homer, as he gave up a homer to Jose Ramirez, his 29th of the season, as he keeps pace with JD Martinez. Clevenger takes the loss as he gave up 4 earned, 5 total over 6 innings pitched. Did have 8 strikeouts. He gave up a couple home runs, one to Didi Gregorius, his 17th of the year, and Greg Bird, his 8th of the season for the Yankees. In Baltimore, the Rangers could not scratch across the run against the Orioles. They lose 1-0. The Orioles had Jeffrey Ramirez actually pitched in this one, as he was pretty good, as he went 5 shutout innings, 2 hits allowed, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts for him. No homers in this game, as like I said, the Orioles only needed the 1 run. It was a Jonathan Scope sacrifice fly that got them that 1 run to win the game. In Colorado, the Rockies beat the Mariners 4-1. Carlos Gonzalez hit his 11th homer of the season, as that was the only homer in the game. But they got a great start from John Gray. He went 7 1/3 innings, 1 run allowed, 5 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts for him, as he gets his 8th win on the season. And then in San Diego, the Cubs beat the Padres again, 11-6 this time, as they got a home run from Ian Happ, his 11th, Kyle Schwarber, his 18th for Kyle Schwarber, and Javier Baez, his 19th. A 3-run shot there for him, as the Cubs blew that one open. For the Padres, they got a home run from Eric Hosmer, his 10th, and Hunter Renfroe, his 6th of the season. All right, and we'll go over to Sunday, the final day of the, you call it the first half of the season. It's really not the first half of the season. A lot of these teams have already played like upwards of 80 games, almost 90 games. Some of these teams haven't had weather delays and weather postponements and such. But, this is obviously well past the halfway part in the season. But they just this is the All-Star break, so final day before the All-Star break. A's beat the Giants again, 6-2. Sean Manaea gets the win, as the Giants, after winning the first game of the season, couldn't really do much more against the A's. Steven Piscotty hit his 12th of the season. Chase Darno, his 2nd of the year for the Giants, as they could not scratch much more across against Sean Manaea. He gets his 9th win of the season, as he went 6 innings, 2 runs allowed, 5 hits, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Just that homer was the big blemish for him. In Baltimore, the Orioles beat the Rangers 6-5, as they got a nice start from it was actually a nice save from Zach Britton at the end of that game, but he gets the save there. That was only his 4th of the year. He got out of it there after giving up a walk and a hit, but he gets the save. The Orioles win 6-5. Home runs came from Manny Machado, his 24th of the season. We'll see where he's headed. And then Guzman hit his 9th of the year for the Rangers, and Shin-Soo Choo, his 18th of the year for them, as he continues on his tear of, I think he has some crazy streak of he's getting close to 40 games in a row of getting on base safely, and he continues that streak along through the All-Star break. In Boston, the Red Sox beat the Blue Jays 5-2. They got a nice start from Brian Johnson, but he only lasted 4 2/3 innings. The bullpen took over and held on for the Red Sox. They got a home run from Xander Bogaerts, his 16th of the season. For the Blue Jays, Teoscar Hernandez was the only homer of the year, home run for them, his 15th of the year, as they lose at home in Boston. Indians beat the Yankees by that same score, 5-2, in Cleveland. Got a home run from Edwin Encarnacion, his 22nd, and Michael Brantley, his 12th of the year, as the Indians really starting to find their bats. Trevor Bauer was excellent, 6-7 innings, 2 runs allowed, 7 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, the homer allowed. That was to Neil Walker, his 3rd of the season, as the Yankees had Masahiro Tanaka. He pitched all right, 6 1/3 innings, 2 runs, 6 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts of the bullpen. Chad Green gave up 3 runs, as that was really the difference in the game. In Miami, the Marlins, after 2 very low-scoring games, the Marlins beat the Phillies 10-5. As the bats came out there at Marlins Park. Cameron Maybin hit his 2nd homer of the season. Brad Anderson, his 8th of the year for the Marlins. For the Phillies, no homers in this game, and not really much to write home about when it comes to the pitching, as none of the starters lasted even 5 innings. So we'll move on to the next one. In Washington, in New York, the Nationals salvaged 1 game against the Mets. They win 6-1. Behind Jeremy Hellickson, who actually pitched very nicely, 6 innings and 1 run allowed, 2 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts for him. as he gets his 4th win of the season. No home runs in this game at all, as it was a 6-1 victory, a nice clean 6-1 victory. The Nationals scored 5 runs in the 7th inning in that rally to get that lead, and they would hold on there to win that one. In Atlanta, the Braves salvaged the game against the Diamondbacks as well at home. They get a win 5-1 behind a great start from Julio Teheran. He actually outdueled Patrick Corbin. He went 6 1/3 shutout innings, 4 runs allowed, 4 hits allowed, 3 hits, 6 strikeouts for Teheran, shutout innings, no runs. He outdueled Corbin, who gave up 4 runs over 6 innings of work himself. Home runs in this game came from Tucker, his 4th of the season for the Braves. It was a pinch hitter who came in, actually, as a pinch hit homer, Preston Tucker. And then for the Arizona, their only run came from a John Jay home run off of Winkler in the 8th inning, his 3rd of the season. And then in Pittsburgh, we said the Pirates had won 4 games already in a row. They won the game on Thursday, they won a game on Friday, they won 2 on Saturday. So they're going for a 5-game sweep of the Brewers in this series here. And they were down their last out. They're down 6-5, their last out, and I think their last strike too, maybe, with runners at first and third. And Josh Bell hit a line drive over the head of the center fielder, scoring the run from third to tie the game. And they sent the guy from all the way around from first base, and he was about to get hosed. Go look at the highlight. He was about to get hosed at home by about 10 feet, and the ball, it was pouring down rain in Pittsburgh. The ball just skims right underneath the glove, between the legs of the catcher to the backstop. The guy scores. I mean, literally, the catcher put the glove down thinking he caught the ball, and the guy slid right into his glove. He would have been out. If the ball's in the glove, he's out. No question about it. They're going to add more extra innings. But, that's the way things go sometimes. Ball squirts right through your legs. The guy's safe. The game's over. You lose 5 in a row to the same team, and the Brewers all of a sudden are 2.5 games back of the Cubs, even though they have... This is the weird thing about baseball, is that the Cubs have actually played 5 less games. Like, that's how many rainouts they've had. The Brewers have a roof on their field, so they've played 5 less games than the Brewers have. And the Brewers are 2.5 back. They both have 55 wins, but the Brewers have 5 more losses than the Cubs do. So, I mean, that's the difference right there. You're 2.5 games in the standings. It's kind of how it works. But very interesting. We'll see. Obviously, everybody's going to catch up. The Cubs will be playing a lot more games, obviously, in the second half or in the second third of the season, or whatever we want to call it. So, that's interesting there. It's just this disparity of the games that always cracks me up. All right, quickly, as we are coming to the end of this segment here, I want to go finish up these games. The Tigers beat the Astros at home, actually. They beat Justin Verlander, of all people, 6-3, as Francisco Liriano only lasted 3 innings. The bullpen was able to take over and handle it. Hicks hit his 9th home run of the season, Candelario his 13th, Goodrum his 9th, and Aducci his 1st for the Tigers. They got a bunch of home runs in this game, all off of Verlander, as he was rocked a little bit as he gives up all 6 of those runs in the loss. The White Sox beat the Royals 10-1. Dang, 10-1. As Lucas Giolito was great. 6 1/3 innings, no runs, 2 hits, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts for him. Home run came from Palka, his 12th of the season, and Yoan Moncada hit his 12th of the season as well for the White Sox in the win. Home run for the Royals came from Mondesi, his 3rd of the season. In Minnesota, the Twins beat the Rays. In extra innings. They walk off on them 11-7, as they got a walk off. Was this another walk off grand slam by Brian Dozier? A walk off grand slam for him, as they get the win 11-7. And this one, other home runs in this game that was it. The only home run in the game was the walk-off grand slam. The Cardinals did salvage a game against the Reds. I think this was after their manager got fired. Carpenter hit his 19th of the season, Fowler his 7th of the year in the win. No homers for the Reds, as Michaelis only lasted 4 innings, but he got a no decision as the bats came to play a little bit better. In Colorado, the Rockies complete the sweep, I'm pretty sure, of the Mariners at home there, as they win 4-3. over the weekend. Tyler Anderson was great. He went 6 innings, 2 runs allowed, 5 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. He gets the no decision because this game was decided late on a walk-off home run by Trevor Story, his 20th of the season in walk-off. No, not in walk-off, the 20th of the season total, but another walk-off home run in the majors. The only home run of that game came from Story. That was his 20th. The Dodgers beat the Angels 5-3 as they win that freeway series there in L.A. Yasmani Grandal hit his 13th homer of the season as he paced that offense for the Dodgers. They also got a home run from Kike Hernandez, his 16th of the season. Home runs for the Angels came from Marte, his 4th of the season for Angels over there. And in the final game of the day, the Cubs beat the Padres 7-4. As they complete the sweep there. Eric Lauer, after his great start against the Dodgers, gets rocked. He gives up 5 runs over 2 innings pitched, and that was all he would see. John Lester gets the win. He went 5 1/3 innings, 3 runs allowed, 6 hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts. Gave up a home run to Christian Villanueva, his 19th of the season. Hunter Renfroe added his 7th of the season late in that game. No home runs for the Cubs, but they got the win 7-4. All right, we'll come back and talk about the Home Run Derby a little bit. We'll go through the bracket style of the Home Run Derby. I'll give you my predictions as well as who I like to win the All Star Game, and we'll talk about that when we come back. So everybody stay tuned.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
All right, welcome back to GSMC Baseball Podcast on a Monday today. Here's we're going to go over the Home Run Derby, talk about the bracket really quick here. We'll give it to you right now on this how this bracket is going to work for this T-Mobile Home Run Derby from Nationals Park. It's going to be happening today. It'll be on ESPN for those who are looking for the channel to find that. Home Run Derby is actually pretty fun. I like watching, especially with this new format, which is actually, it's not the outs anymore. It's all about timing. It's all about time. It's all timed. So it's all about how much time. Like I know Alex Bregman just came out and said that he wants to hit a lot of low line drives because the pitcher can't throw the next pitch until the ball hits the ground. So even if it's an out or a homer and the ball's in the air, you can't throw a pitch. It's not like when you have the outs where it's like, who cares? It's all timed. I don't know. I can't remember exactly how much time they get per round. It changes per round, I think. But obviously you want to hit as many homers as you can throughout the time you're given. So looking like right now, number 1 seed actually is Jesus Aguilar, which is not surprising. He's got so much power, probably going to put on a great show. We got a lot of fresh names in here too, a lot of new names. Reese Hoskins, this will be his first home run derby, which will be interesting because it's not the easiest. It changes, and that's why some guys don't like doing it because it'll mess up your swing sometimes. But yeah, he's the 8th seed, so he'll face Aguilar. That'll be a tough matchup for him, but you never know. You can have favorites, obviously, like Aaron Judge last year, but you still got to hit homers. You still got to hit them, and if you aren't, maybe you're just missing a little bit. You can run into some issues. We've also seen big favorites go out early from this competition. So Hoskins versus Aguilar in the first round. I'll probably take Aguilar. He's really. I feel like he's actually a big favorite to win this, even though you have Bryce Harper and Javier Baez and everybody. But no, this is a guy who hits bombs, and he hits easy bombs. easy bombs. He's got oppo power too, so he can use that right field Nationals Park as well. So I'll take Aguilar there in that first round matchup. The other side of the bracket, the 2 seed is facing the 7 seeds, Bryce Harper versus Freddie Freeman. So 2 American League. I mean, National League. They're all National League guys except for one. It's all National League except for Bregman. And it used to be that you had to have 4 and 4. It was AL, NL kind of thing. But now they don't really care. It's regardless of league, I guess, as we have 7 NL players and 1 AL player. Okay, it's whatever. It's where we know where all the power lies, or where all the guys who actually want to go swing. So Bryce Harper versus Freddie Freeman. I'll take Harper in this one because he's playing at home. He'll be juiced. I think he's got a better kind of home run derby swing. Even though Freddie Freeman hits missiles as well, Bryce hits more of those line drives. I think that he'll be able to get more pitches in his allotted time as well. And then back over the side, 4 and 5 matchup is Alex Bregman and Kyle Schwarber. That's going to be the toughest one, I think, for me, because we know Bregman has this plan and everything that can come back to bite him. And Schwarber, they call him Schwarbombs for a reason. I mean, this guy hits bombs. So, I mean, I think that's a toss-up. That one's a toss-up. We'll come back. Max Muncy versus Javier Baez. That's another toss-up. That's the 3 and 4 matchup. That can go either way. I have to pick because that's just how it works. But I'm actually going to take Max Muncy. He's a 3 seed actually right now. Max Muncy's very good. He's got a great little swing. I think Baez is going to get tired. I think he's going to swing too hard, too early, and start hitting pop-ups early. So I mean, I'm not going to you could tell by the way Hyber, but he'll hit some missiles too. But I like Max Muncy is that repeated short stroke. And then back over, I have to pick. I'll pick Schwarber. I think Bregman's the same thing. He's going to swing. He's going to go for those line drives, and he's not going to get hit many home runs. I'll take Schwarber against Bregman. So that means Schwarber versus Aguilar and Harper versus Muncy in the semifinal. We'll take the hometown kid, Bryce Harper, to get to the final against Aguilar. So you get the 2 versus the 1, which is fine. I didn't make the seeding. It's the way it worked out. Aguilar versus Harper in the final, and I say Aguilar is going to win because Harper's going to disappoint all the Nationals fans there that go and want him to win the home run derby at home, and he's not going to win. Watch. It's only 3 rounds. So you got first round, second round, final round. That's it. So I mean, you got whoever can get hot. Honestly, it's anybody's game. I just made picks because I want to make picks, but I mean it's really anybody's competition. Any of those guys could win. I don't know about retard. They all have power though. They all have power, and they all have gap to gap power, and they all have low line drive. They all have line drive power. They don't have hitting these big moon shots. Maybe Kyle Schwarber will, or Freddie Freeman. But a lot of these guys have some very good power. Also, Max Muncy. You ever seen his swing? The guy's one of the prettiest swings I've seen. Very compact, short stroke, right to the ball, and he hits the ball far as well. So I like it and gets good backspin. But with the home run derby, obviously, this is the only guy I think that is coming back who's been in a home run derby before is Harper. So whether that is going to play into his favor or not, we will see. It is the knockout style. So I mean, I like this bracket style. I have for a while, but I mean, enough on the home run derby. We have to talk about the All Star Game as well. So the All Star Game is on Tuesday. We're not going to be back until Wednesday to do some talk on the All Star Game. I know we have the whole another segment because there's no games to preview in the next segment. So we'll have that whole segment to go over the rosters and to say yes, finally Blake Snell gets put on the roster to replace injured player, which is silly. I mean, this is a guy who could be starting the game very, very easily. And then also, I think we had Judd Lowry get added to the roster to replace Gleyber Torres because he's hurt as well. So, I mean, 2 guys who were snubbed that deserved it finally got on, which is good. It's good to go there. But, looking back, I know this is going to be a good one. DC, great city to have it in. It's our nation's capital. I know there's going to be tons of fan experiences everywhere. I know when I was here, and the All-Star Game is always fun because when it was here, they take care of the fan. They had it in about 11 years ago, in 2007. The All-Star Game was hosted in San Francisco, and it was really fun. I mean, obviously, I think every year it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But even then, they take out the entire convention center space of putting all this great fan experience stuff in there. I mean, now it's probably going to be all social media based and everything, and they're also doing a lot of good stuff when it comes to helping veterans, and T-Mobile has their whole hats off to heroes thing going on right now, which is great. So everybody make sure you go tweet out that so T-Mobile will donate more money to helping veterans, because that's what our country we gotta do that. We gotta use platforms, and we gotta be able to spread awareness so those who need help can get it, especially when they're doing such a great thing for us. But back to the home run derby. I'm like, we actually could keep talking about the home run derby a little bit here, because I have a whole nother segment to go over the game tomorrow. But no, the home run derby is tonight. So tonight, everybody, it's at 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. The home run derby. It'll be a fun one. Nationals Park isn't really a pitcher's park. It's kind of I would say more of a hitter's park. They have that taller wall in right field. Also out in center. It's going to be a fun one to do home run derby at. Really open stadium. Really nice. You can totally see back out the back of the stadium and everything too. So DC's got to be a great place to host an All-Star Game. Lots of places to do. I mean, talk about a trip. I mean, if you're a baseball fan from like the Midwest or from Texas or something like that, talk about a trip right there. That's called double whammy. And if you're going to pay for plane tickets, which are not cheap, believe me, I'm planning trips right now for weddings and vacations for even next year, which is ridiculous in my mind. But you got to do it to be able to get what you bang for your buck, So this would be, a family wants to go show their kids around our nation's capital and go to the monuments and the museums and all that stuff. Oh, by the way, and it's the thing is, the All-Star Game, you don't have to be a Nationals fan. You don't have to be a fan. You could be any fan of any team, and you can go. I mean, yeah, I've spoken now about, have my thoughts about the whole rules and everything about getting a representative from every team, which is great. It's inclusiveness is always great. I'm always going to encourage inclusiveness. But however, when it does take away from others, like Andrew Benintendi not getting in because Salvador Perez, who actually is going to be starting now due to injury to Wilson Ramos, but Salvador Perez is hitting like 230 with like 15 home runs, or not 13 home runs, I think. Not an all-star, but he got selected because the Royals needed a representative, so he's their representative, and is actually going to be starting the game now. So there is some great inclusiveness. It's cool. Because it's like I said, you don't have to be a fan of any specific team. You can be a fan of any team, and you can bring your family out, go to the home run derby. You don't have to go to the games. You don't have to go to any of the events. I mean, you can go to the celebrity softball game or the Futures game that was actually yesterday. And then there's always stuff going on. When I was actually in San Francisco for the game, I didn't go to the game or to the home run derby. I went to the Fan Fest. I went down to it's really Fan Fest experience and all the All-Star Game experience stuff down there. I mean, I'm sure it's even better now, 11 years later, in DC, has crazy, huge amounts of event space as well. So, you can go to that. You go check out the monuments, make it a DC trip, and you also can enjoy some baseball as well. I know those game tickets and the home run derby tickets are a hot commodity right now, especially with the fact that it's tonight and the game's tomorrow. So, planning that would have been probably a little now, but All-Star Games in general, it's a great thing to have. It's the Midsummer Classic. I know now it doesn't really mean anything. There's nothing online regarding home field advantage for the All-Star Game or anything. They got rid of that, but it's still a great event to have. It's appreciating the greats in our game, the players who have had great first starts to the season, and also the guys who have never been there before, and the first time All-Stars. It's always fun to find out who the first time All-Stars are, and their lights go up and they turn into little kids, and you hear their interviews and they go talk to these guys who have been to 6, 7, 8 All-Star games, these veterans that have been in there, and they can bump shoulders and talk baseball and just say, hey, what's up? They don't get to talk very much, and share a clubhouse. And usually every year they get a legendary person coming into the clubhouse. I know a few years ago was Chipper Jones came in and did a pep talk for the NL team. Derek Jeter's done one for the American League team. I mean, so you're going to have some crazy good experiences, and you get some pretty cool jerseys too. So, I mean, being an All-Star is a great honor. And it's a great part of the time of the year. It's a great thing for everything. Even for the teams that are maybe struggling, they might not have as many All-Stars. They can use these 4 days to refresh themselves. I mean, baseball, especially now, it's mid-July. It's been a grind. It's been 3.5 months of every single day grinding it out. I know football is like, oh, your games don't matter. Like, okay, well, how about you deal with a 10-game losing streak? Oh, then you have a game tomorrow. Have fun with that one. At least you don't get a week off in between every time. I mean, they need the week off. I'm not going comparing this to football at all. But I'm telling you, sometimes it can snowball on you where even if your team is winning, but you're in a slump or something like that, or if your team is losing or winning or whatever, you go into a slump. You're playing every day. It's repetitive. It's like there's going to be a good thing. It can snowball, or you can see it as a bad thing. It can snowball, or you can see it as a good thing and as a new opportunity every time. But it gets in your head sometimes. And these 4 days off for those who aren't going to be participating in the All-Star festivities are probably, assumedly, very, very, very welcome. All right. We'll come back and do some more talk on the All-Star Game. I'm going to go through the rosters and the starting lineups as well for the American League and the National League as we prepare and preview this All-Star Game, the Midsummer Classic from Nationals Park in Washington, D.C., as we will come back after the break and do that talk next. Stay tuned.
Want to know the latest in soccer? Then listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. From MLS, the World Cup, and the Premier League, we've got you covered. The latest updates, the hottest matches, and news on the league's top players. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
David Beckham scores the goal to take England all the way to the World Cup finals.
Listen now.
All right, welcome back to GSMC Baseball Podcast, the final segment of the day today here, as we are going to go over the starters for the American League and the National League in the All-Star Game. That'll be tomorrow. They announce the starters for the game prior to the Home Run Derby, so they get a little bit more time to prepare for the game tomorrow night. So I think we're going to have the announcement this afternoon regarding who's going to start. I'm thinking because of the fact that he started on Thursday, Max Scherzer will get the nod in his home park for the National League. For the American League, I'm not sure, honestly. I don't know who. I know we have this nice little. I have my list and I have my nice little legend on what means what when carding, who's actually available to pitch. It looks like that the starters for the American League is, like I said, Salvador Perez and Yan Gomes. Yan Gomes was added because of the injury to Wilson Ramos, and Salvador Perez will now be the starter for catcher for the American League. Okay, there we go. All right, I just wanted to figure that one out. I'm like, Yan Gomes is coming in for him. That makes sense. All right, so going through the American League here, so Salvador Perez will be your catcher. We don't have any lineups yet. They'll happen tomorrow. Likely, we'll figure out who the lineups are. The order will be. But here's the guys that will be in that lineup for the catcher: Salvador Perez, Jose Abreu at first base from the White Sox, Jose Altuve from the Astros, and Jose Ramirez. So the Jose's will be manning for first, second, and third there, with Manny Machado there at shortstop from the Orioles. Mookie Betts from the Red Sox, Mike Trout, Aaron Judge, and JD Martinez round out that roster for the American League. So I'm thinking they're probably going to have. I probably would have Altuve lead. I mean, that's a lineup right there. I mean, do you have Altuve lead? I think you have Altuve lead off. Then you have. Dang, this is how do you make if the AJ Hinch has got a. I mean, you really can't go wrong. How do you make this lineup? So you have Altuve lead off. You have Altuve lead off. Then when you have Trout hit second, and then Ramirez hit third, I put Betts. I honestly would have Mookie Betts hit fourth. He's really good. Then, dang, you probably got Machado hitting fifth, Judge sixth, Martinez seventh, Abreu eighth, Perez ninth. Because I mean, Salvi's hit ninth. We know that. But Abreu and JD, it's just, there's so much. All these guys hit in the middle. Like every single one of these guys hit in the second through fifth slot in their lineup. Maybe even the third or fourth slot for every single one of these players. I mean, that's pretty interesting. So they have to move them around a little bit. And then in the National League, you have Wilson Contreras from the Cubs catching, Freddie Freeman from the Braves first base, Javier Baez from the Cubs at second, Nolan Arenado from the Rockies at third. The shortstop is Brandon Crawford from the Giants, and the outfielders Nick Markakis, Matt Kemp, and Bryce Harper. And then they'll pick one of the reserves to be a DH. I think it'll likely be Paul Goldschmidt from the D-backs to be that DH, and he'll probably move over to first base, or maybe one of the outfielder guys will be the DH, or well, we'll find out. Maybe JT Realmuto, but you need to be able to hold that DH for one of the other positions. So we'll figure it. We'll figure it out. That will be Dave Roberts to make that decision tomorrow for the National League, and see who's the manager for the National League. So looking at these starters, you're probably going to have, I'm going to say you're going to have Baez lead off, probably Harper hit second, then Arenado third. So you have Baez lead off, Harper hit second, Arenado third. Now, this lineup is a little different than the American League's lineup. Is just a little different. I think it's still got some stars in there, but it's not as much power. A little left when it comes to the power. So you have Baez. I mean, they got some power. There's some power in this lineup too. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, Crawford and Contreras are probably your and maybe even Markakis are probably your least powerful. Then you still have Bryce Harper, Matt Kemp, Baez got plenty of power on Arenado and Freeman. But so thinking Baez hits first, probably have Harper second, maybe Arenado third, then maybe Harper hitting cleanup. I don't know. This is weird. I don't know how you're going to figure. This is kind of weird because you don't really have because Brandon Crawford hits left-handed, so maybe have Baez hit first, Crawford second, Arenado third, Harper fourth, Markakis fifth, Kemp sixth, Freeman seventh, Contreras eighth, and then obviously whoever the DH is going to be. So I'm going to say I don't think actually Paul Goldschmidt is going to be the DH because of the fact that they have only two first basemen and they probably want to move him around the field, and they have one shortstop, so probably one of the outfielders will be the DH, maybe a Charlie Blackmon or a Kane, or will be the DH there. So if you have Charlie Blackmon the DH, honestly, that probably would be the best deal because Charlie Blackmon he hits leadoff. That's what he hits. He hits leadoff for the Rockies. So I probably would have him DH. Blackmon DHs, hits leadoff. So Blackmon's leading off. Then you have, and then this will fill your lineup out a little better. So yeah, you have Blackmon leading off. Then you probably have Baez hit second, Harper third, Arenado third, Harper fourth, Markakis fifth, Kemp sixth, Crawford seventh, Freeman eighth, Contreras ninth. So actually, that's not a bad little lineup there either. So maybe Crawford hits ninth. But yeah, it's not a bad little lineup there. If you put Blackmon in there, definitely lengthen this lineup a little bit more, and you can have Harper and Machado be Harper and Arenado be the middle of your order as well. All right, so back to the American League as we go over the reserves for them. So you have Yan Gomes from the Indians as the replacement for Wilson Ramos. He's also there, but he's injured, so he will not be playing tomorrow. Mitch Moreland from the Red Sox, very deserving. He's very good. Gleyber Torres, he's hurt as well. Jed Lowry was his replacement, so he'll be in there. Alex Bregman, Francisco Lindor, Michael Brantley, Shin-Soo Choo, Mitch Haniger, George Springer, and Nelson Cruz. So a lot of good outfielders there for the American League. And then looking at the National League, you have Yadier Molina. Buster Posey's not going to play. He's going to get some treatment on his hip during the All-Star break. JT Realmuto is his replacement, very deserving. And then you have Paul Goldschmidt. I would say Realmuto could be the DH, but he's a second catcher. You can't have Yachty. Well, I mean, you can't have Contreras catch the whole game, or Yachty. I mean, I guess you could have Yachty and Contreras catch the whole game. It's whatever. Well, that's not my job. Dave Roberts will figure it out. Paul Goldschmidt from the D-backs, Joey Votto from the Reds, Ozzie Albies. He's very good. He just got beat out for the starting job by Baez of the vote. Scooter Gennett from the Reds, also very deserving. Eugenio Suarez from the Reds. The Reds have three All-Stars, and they're all very good. And they're not. I mean, they're actually the Reds could be. Watch out for the Reds next year. Honestly, they got some pitching. Watch if they keep Matt Harvey and actually turn him into back into Matt Harvey. It'd be crazy. Then you got Trevor Story from the Rockies, Charlie Blackmon from the Rockies, and then two Brewers, Lorenzo Cain and Christian Yelich. All right. So I would then go over to the pitch. Obviously, the final vote getter. Oh, actually, this is interesting. I don't know, why didn't they put him in the reserves? I forgot. Jesus Aguilar won the final vote, so he is a first baseman, which means that maybe he'll get the DH job, or Paul Goldschmidt will. I think it should be Blackmon because he's a leadoff hitter. And he hits leadoff for his team, and he's used to hitting leadoff, so I think he'd be better as the DH and leading off there for the National League, and then you can figure out the rest of it as you go on. You still have Cain and Yelich, and you don't really need to make that many moves in the outfield throughout the game. Somebody could play the whole game. You can let Bryce Harper play the whole game, and nobody would be upset about that. All right, and then going to the American League, the pitchers are very, very good. This is a tough. I mean, the fact that it took a week for Blake Snell to get put on the team because of a injury means that this is a very good team. Obviously, we had the whole rule with the. Making sure everybody gets a representative. Joe Jimenez from the Tigers is my example right there. Like, I don't even know who that was. So Trevor Bauer from the Indians is having a great season. Jose Barrios is the Twins representative, so he's there. You have Aroldis Chapman from the Yankees, Garrett Cole from the Astros, Edwin Diaz, probably the best closer in the league right now for the Mariners. Jay Happ from the Blue Jays, Jose Jimenez from the Tigers. Those are two guys that probably wouldn't be there if it wasn't for the, everybody's got to have a representative rule. Corey Kluber from the Indians, Craig Kimbrell from the Red Sox, Charlie Morton from the Astros, Chris Sale from the Red Sox, Luis Severino from the Yankees, Blake Snell from the Rays, Blake Treinen from the A's, and Justin Verlander from the Astros. And then your final vote winner for the American League was Gene Segura. He's a shortstop, so he'll be in there as a backup as a reserve with Lindor. Reserved for Machado. And then for the National League, the pitchers over here, you have Patrick Corbin from the D-backs, Jacob deGrom from the Mets, Sean Doolittle from the Nationals, Mike Fulton-Davis from the Braves, Zach Greinke from the D-backs, Josh Hader, who's very good. The Giants, the National League, their bullpen. I mean, I know the American League has Chapman and Kimbrell, but the bullpen in the National League is also very, very good with Brad Hand and Josh Hader, Sean Doolittle. I mean, you got lots of really good relievers in here. Jeremy Jeffress from the Brewers is very good. Kenley Jansen from the Dodgers. John Lester from the Cubs, as we're continuing the pitchers here. John Lester from the Cubs. Miles Mikolas from the Cardinals. Aaron Nola from the Phillies. Very good. He just pitched, I think, so he won't be able to go, I don't think. And then Ross Stripling from the Dodgers and Felipe Vasquez from the Pirates. So picking out these starters is going to be the next thing I'm going to try and do here. For the National League, I think it's going to be Scherzer. I think he pitched on Thursday, so he's going to have his normal rest. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and pitch on Tuesday. Rest. For the American League, I think, did Kluber pitch on Thursday? If Kluber pitched on Thursday, I think he's going to get the start for the American League. For the the American League, other guys that could possibly get it. Garrett Cole could easily get it if he is available. It all depends who started on Thursday and who didn't, like who's on normal rest, and we'll figure that one out, as they're all deserving. Chris Sale could do it. Not Charlie Morton, but Chris Sale, Garrett Cole, Trevor Bauer, even Luis Severino could do it. Could start very easily for the American League, especially or a Kluber. So we got lots of options on both sides. Honestly, on both sides, I just think Scherzer in his home park on full rest is pretty much a no-brainer for Dave Roberts there to give him the ball to start off the game for the National League, because hopefully a little better than last time. But in the National League, wasn't Johnny Cueto the starter for the National League last year, as he had one of the best first halves you could ever have, and got the start and got kind of rocked in the first inning there, but it's whatever. It's the All-Star. It's the All-Star game. Like I said, there's no stipulations anymore. There's no more. It's all about. It has nothing to do with the World Series. Honestly, I kind of liked that rule. It helped me out a little bit with the fact that the Giants. I think that the National League, the Giants always had home field advantage in the World Series. They did. Actually, no, that's not true. Except for the last time. The last time. I had my Giants fanship trying to remember here. The first two times they didn't have home field advantage because the American League was not able to win the All-Star game. 2010, the All-Star game. Wow, I'm trying to remember. This is going to be hard. I think that was Anaheim. Brian McCann won that game for the National League, and then 2012 was Arizona, and that was the home run by Prince Fielder that bounced over the wall to win the game for the National League. I'm pretty sure I'm remembering that correctly. It might be flip-flopped, honestly, but those are the two All-Star games that were won by the National League to give the Giants home field advantage in the World Series. So there, it does have something to do with it, but not anymore. No more home field advantage being decided by the All-Star game. It'll just be your record, like it should be, like it is in basketball and hockey. So it's just I'm nothing against that. Totally fine with it. As the All-Star game can get kind of squirrely, and a game that is a exhibition, having that much riding on it was a big deal. And I think it was the reason why they did it is because it ended in a tie one year, and I think that they just played 10 innings and called it. All right. Okay, that'll wrap it up for the show today, as we'll come back on Wednesday and recap everything. We'll talk about home run derby, we'll talk All-Star game, we'll do all of it on Wednesday. It'll be a fun show. Usually I know we go over the scores and everything, so I'll have a whole hour to really go over the home run derby round by round breakdowns and everything, as I'll be watching very closely and making sure that that we have everything ready for Wednesday and a great show Wednesday. So everybody enjoy the games, and make sure if you are listening to this show will be up in about. It'll be posted by 11 o'clock this morning, so you'll have time to listen, and then tune in for the home run derby at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN. Then tomorrow, I think it's I don't even know who's I think it's MasterCard All-Star Game. I'm not sure. I know it's T-Mobile home run derby. I think it's MasterCard's doing the All-Star Game. They got the title sponsor for the All-Star Game, so that will be, I believe, at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern for the All-Star Game tomorrow from Nationals Park in Washington, D.C., which is pretty cool. All right. Everybody have a good day, and we'll talk to you on Wednesday. Bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.